What is up, everyone? Round one of the 2026 NBA draft is in the books, so it's officially time for me to release my 2K26 offseason roster. First things first, this will only be available to NBA 2K26 players on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series consoles. I apologize for any Switch players or PC players. Secondly, I will have a separate video going through the attribute and badge changes that I made to the rookies since my May draft class update. So this video is more to be informative on my offseason roster versus going more micro into the individual rookies. I also have this overview of the roster and its features on Operation Sports in written form, so you could check out the link there if you'd rather read through what this roster features instead of watching this video. There's a few ways to access this roster in NBA 2K26. The primary way you're going to want to access this roster is by going to Options, then Create Roster, then User Created Roster. Then if you are on Xbox, press Y to search by gamertag. If you're on PlayStation, just click triangle, search my name, Brian D for 3 in the gamertag section, and then my off-season roster will show up. You'll see it already has over 100 downloads because I put it out this afternoon. And once you click on my roster, you'll have full visibility into everything that I've done up to this point. So obviously day one of the draft is in the books. I've added all of the first round picks on their respective teams. I'll show screenshots of what each of these individual draft picks look like in game for those of you who are new here. And I've also done every trade that's gone down in the offseason so far as well. So while I roll through the roster here just to show you that I have all the rookies, let me actually talk about what's featured in this roster. So of course you have all 30 of the first round picks. I'm scrolling through the roster right now to show you that I have every single one of them in the roster. Most of you who've kept up with me throughout the course of the year, you know I have all these players in my draft class. I've just ported those same players over to the roster. For those of you who are new here, I have been updating these rookies all year long. I have done my best to apply accurate signatures and badges to these players, and their attributes are statistically based, whether they played in college or not. I've even done some hot zones on players, which again are statistically based, to try to make this as accurate and reflective of the player in real life as possible. For second round picks, right now while I'm recording this, tonight will actually be the second night of the draft, so I don't know which players are going to get drafted in the second round. My draft class only contains 56 players, so at best, I'll only have to create 4. I don't think that's very likely though, so I'm going to have players that I'm going to have to backfill in this roster. But a couple of additional callouts I just want to make. First of all, second round picks don't automatically get guaranteed contracts like first round picks do, so I'll keep an ear out for which players are actually getting guaranteed contracts. In addition to second round players, you of course have undrafted players who sign to teams. So the ones who actually sign contracts, I will try my best to add them in if I have them. But one thing I do want to mention is that if someone signs an Exhibit 10 contract, I will not be adding them into the roster. An Exhibit 10 is just a training camp invite pretty much. It does not mean you're on the final roster. Second of all, even though I do only have 56 players created, I have others who I've started creating that I just didn't get around to finishing. So some players, if they end up getting drafted that I don't have in my draft class, might actually be quicker than others for me to include in the roster compared to some others. If somebody who is draft eligible that I created does not get drafted, you'll be able to find that player in the free agent pool until they find a landing spot. The other thing you're getting with this roster is all of the offseason transactions that take place. So all of the trades that have happened, I've done in this roster. I'm actually going to have a link in the description to a Google sheet that I put together. You'll be able to see exactly which transactions I've done and that I'm aware of, and which ones that I haven't been able to execute. So if you're ever curious on whether I know about a certain move that's taken place or whether I've done something in the roster, this Google Sheet is going to be the place for you to check that out. I will nicely ask that you give me a little bit of grace before I add certain transactions into the roster. I'm not trying to be married to my Xbox all the time, but I think it's reasonable within 24 or 48 hours for me to have a transaction in the roster. I understand there's a lot of excitement when moves happen, but I got a job and I'm trying to enjoy my summer. But obviously this is a responsibility I take seriously. So even within that, I will still do my best to have this roster updated quickly. So as you can see, I've done trades like the Giannis trade, the Julius Randle trade, and the Aaron Wiggins trade. And I've also done free agent transactions. So the Austin Reeves deal, CJ McCollum, Colin Gillespie, things of that nature. All of those have already been done in this roster. I should also mention here that I reduced every player's contract by 1 year. I increased their age by 1 year, and I increased their years pro in their bio by 1. I've also been able to do a couple of the head coaching changes that have taken place. So I've been able to add Jamal Mosley to the Pelicans and Sean Sweeney to the Magic and Tiago Splitter to the Bulls. So I've been able to do head coaching transactions like that. There are certain coaching transactions I've not been able to do just because the coach is not in the NBA 2K coaching pool. So think Dusty May to the Mavericks. I'm not able to do that. And on top of that, the Bucks hiring Taylor Jenkins and firing Doc Rivers. So those are the two coaching changes I've not been able to do because Taylor Jenkins and Dusty May are not in NBA 2K26. As far as other things that are not in my control, I also cannot trade draft capital in this roster. So if you do end up using this roster for your MyNBA files, I apologize, but the draft capital will not reflect real life. And I, again, don't have control over that. So we mentioned 2026 draftees are in this roster. We mentioned all of the trades and signings that I'm able to do are in this roster. One thing I did not do in this roster is make any changes to existing players in this roster, meaning I didn't change any attributes or badges or signatures of existing players in this roster just to maintain continuity of the default 2K experience. So it'll still be the same game you've been playing all year. If you've been playing the 2K default roster, you're not going to be surprised if Shea has some weird different jump shot. I'm not going to do that. You guys will have the same experience as the 2K default roster, other than the new rookies that I added in the game. Those are the only players that would see any potential changes up. And even then, I wouldn't expect many changes. Maybe some accessories, some hairstyles on the rookies might change. I might end up actually changing some attributes of players. For example, if Keaton Wagler, who had 0 dunks in college this year, if he just decides to start yamming in Summer League, I might have to reconsider what his dunk rating is. So there are instances where I may actually update these rookies, but I don't expect it to be a lot of changes. I'm also doing my best to keep up with jersey numbers. I follow Etienne Catalan on X, and he's really good at keeping up with player number changes, and that's where I get my information from. If you see something out there that I don't happen to catch about player jersey numbers that is not reflected in my roster, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or wherever, and I'm happy to make those changes to get those in the roster. I should also mention how I'm treating free agents in this roster. So any player who's designated as being an unrestricted free agent is in the free agent pool right now. Restricted free agents, I did my best to keep as many as I could on their incumbent teams, since the teams have the ability to match any offer that comes in from a rival team. There's also a couple of roster related issues that I wanted to bring up here so you all are aware. And the first one has to do with player DNA mixing. And I had no choice but to do some player DNA mixing in this roster here. And what I mean by that is, in order for me to get the proper 2+2 contract that only rookies are eligible for in the NBA, I had to actually replace every single 2024 first round pick with a 2026 first round pick. So what that means is that, for example, AJ DeBonsa, I replaced Zachary Reese-Shea with AJ DeBonsa when putting together this roster. So AJ DeBonsa's career stats right now display as Zachary Reese-Shea. I should mention I did add back all of the 2024 draftees, so they're all in the game, but I just temporarily had to replace them with these rookies. But this resulted in the career stats of the rookies, 2026 rookies. The career stats show as the 2024 draft career stats. And then the last issue that I could kind of see moving forward is contract amounts in this roster. So if you take Nikola Jokic, for example, when I removed a year off of his contract, unfortunately, 2K doesn't let you exceed $55 million on a contract, even if you change the years pro of the player to 10. So the contract amounts are slightly off in these final 2 years of his contract. On top of that, I expect Jokic to get an extension this summer, which will be worth a lot of money. And again, 2K doesn't let you go over like $55 million on a contract. So the numbers on these high-end contracts aren't going to be exactly perfect. I'm going to be off by quite a lot once these discussions and agreements take place, but I'll at least do my best to maximize what I can as far as dollar value, and then I will still align on the duration of the extensions as well. Before we close, I just want to talk about a couple of other ways to access this roster. So number one, in like freestyle mode or play now, what you can do to access this roster is when you open play now mode or freestyle mode, it gives you the option to click the left stick. If you're on PlayStation 5, it's L3. That will prompt the user created roster screen once again, and then you could follow the same steps of just searching by my gamer tag, and then you can load my roster. I would recommend loading my roster each time so that you can get every single transaction update that I implement instead of having a static roster that does not change. To access this in MyNBA, I would recommend by starting a new MyNBA file using a custom roster. And then from there, once you select custom roster, I would also select customize salary cap. So once you advance from the main selection menu in MyNBA, it will prompt you to select a user created roster once again. And then you can similarly select my roster by searching by my gamer tag. After you go through that process, they will ask you some salary cap customization information. My recommendation would be to bump the salary cap amount to as close as $165 million as possible, because that is what the real life salary cap will be in the NBA in the 26-27 season. So all of the contracts and extensions and signings that happen this summer will be in accordance with that salary cap level. Once you have your MyNBA all set up, this will in essence treat the 25-26 NBA season as the 26-27 NBA season, because I did do that work of advancing ages by 1, in years pro by 1, etc. So if this video helped you out, I would love a like down below so that everybody else on the YouTube algorithm knows that this is a great roster for the off season. I would appreciate it if you subscribe down below. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. So you're going to get plenty of good content this summer. And obviously when 2K27 drops, we're going to have more there as well. Those of you who've been tapped in all year, I appreciate your support all season. And regardless of whether you're new or you're a longtime subscriber, I hope you all have a great summer. And yeah, hope to talk to you soon.